Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this new episode of Inspiring Our World. I am super excited today to be with one of my greatest friends in Diamond Herb Rapp. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Herb before we get going here. Herb's first career was as a tennis pro athlete. But when the 1959 US Open tennis tournament led to back injuries, he switched to a long-time wonderful career as a tennis coach. Herb then became tennis director at the Bally's Hotel in Las Vegas. And he's been with Diamond for 27 years, and as a Royal Diamond has a huge, vibrant international business. He still plays competitive tennis, he skis, and plays basketball, thanks to Diamond's life-empowering technologies. And today, we're going to make a major focus on athletes and hydration. So I'm very excited. Welcome, Herb. Thank you for taking the time to be with me today.
Oh, been looking forward to this, Julie. Thank you.
Absolutely. Me too. I couldn't be more excited. And I know you're a very, very busy man. So I truly respect you taking the time. I'm thrilled you take the time. And speaking of respect, I will just say that you are somebody I followed throughout my own career with Diamond, and I have absolutely the highest regard, the highest respect, and a tremendous amount of love for who you are and what you have done for humanity with taking the word of Diamond out there into the world, along with all of your athletic prowess and everything you keep winning. I know you keep winning contests and things. It's amazing, not only in Diamond, but in your tennis career. So tell us a little bit about how you got going with Diamond, and then we're going to go straight on into athletes and hydration.
Well, Julie, it's been about my 27th year as a tennis coach. My back was an issue for all those 27 years. After the US Open in 1969, I finished my senior year at Florida State, but then was just troubled enough that I couldn't go on with competitive tennis. But I've enjoyed playing tennis, all the time. Played in leagues and played singles as well as doubles, and not more than 2 or 3 times a month I would get in some kind of a competition. But the Diamond product basically gave me the ability to play tennis after 35 at a real high level. Got ranked as high as 23 or 4 in the nation in singles, which is that's a respectable rating, considering there's a couple hundred people that play competitively even in the 35s. But I just am so aware of all the benefits of our products, and you kind of hope you're not going to have firsthand experiences with knees and elbows and backs and things. But I've had quite a few different issues that really the products made a huge difference. It started off basically with sleep, and that I would say is my favorite product because as a person with back trouble, you never sleep well. The muscles are having spasms at night, and you toss and turn. Wake up in the morning, the sheets are kicked everywhere. You really didn't feel like you got rested. I would go to the bathroom and have a shower, but I had to have that shower to kind of loosen up. So the Diamond technologies, from the feet to the back to the strips. We used to use strips, but I would keep them on my shoulders. I would always keep a power band around my neck, and it made a huge difference. I know I was able to enjoy competitive basketball even in my 30s. I played an opening game for one of the UNLV Rebels games. It was an all-star team from Las Vegas, and we got to play an opening game for the NCAA champions that year. So it was just a lot of examples. And as we talk about sports, I'm going to try to throw in some testimonials of different athletes that I know have used the products, but they were all absolutely astonished at what they saw with the products, and most of them were after their prime, and they said, "Boy, I wish I'd had these products when I was competing." Like Shannon Miller, for example, the most decorated female gymnast of her era. She became a consultant and spread the word around how many different people she affected. It was quite a few different. I remember doing an event with Svetlana Boginskaya, a beautiful Russian gymnast, and that was such a treat because they're all very much interested in sharing good news when it comes to not being injured. As a dancer, that when you have an injury, you just don't perform at your highest level, and it just preys upon your thinking and confidence when you've got a tendon that's tight, or you've got a Achilles, or you got a little tweak in your back. So
Well,
Yeah, we'll want to cover those different things.
Yeah, that's so great. I'd forgotten about Shannon Mill, but it's true that I know in the Royal Ballet we used to have ultrasound as a way to help us, and we always felt that was fairly ineffective, and we never wanted to go for surgery. That's just the thing you don't want to do. You're like a racehorse, and you just don't want to have anything that's too invasive. So we were always looking for natural modalities to use, and I know that like in Russia and other countries, they use our type of technologies, magnetics and hydrated alkaline water and so forth, a lot with gymnasts and ballet dancers, and that was intriguing for me to learn about. So it's so cool that you bring up those two women. It's, very powerful. Yeah, tell us all the stories you've got. I love stories.
Well, early on I got involved in 1995, and I think one of our most powerful testimonials is in a sport that a lot of people on the call can probably relate to. It's a game of golf. And one of the things I share with people now as being 74 years old and show them how flexible I am, I say, you know what? There's no way you can be flexible if you're underhydrated. And the entire population of America is beyond clinically dehydrated. And what I share with people is, I ask them the question, do you ever see a person in their late 60s or 70s kind of get up carefully from a chair and their body's kind of curved forward a little bit, their shoulders are forward? And I tell them that's the spine dehydrating. And because the American population is dehydrated, we're all moving around terribly, labored in their 70s. And when they see my skin at 74, I don't even have any wrinkles on my face.
I know you look fantastic. You've always been an incredibly handsome man, but you do look amazing.
Well, my skin has literally gotten better the last 3 or 4 years. And I went to a health expose on skin. It was really fun to find out all this stuff. And the man was 65, he looked 40. But the question I asked him, I said, I'm in my 60s now, can my skin recover? And he said, the skin is about 3 things: what you put on, what you eat, and water. And I love that, because I'm sharing that with people now, because everybody that comes in to see me at my hot tub spa store, they're all dehydrated. And I tell them, you're not only going to be dehydrated, you're going to be super dehydrated, like a car running on empty, because you're sitting in 102 or 3 degrees, perspiring nonstop for an hour at a time, 4 times a week or more. And you're going to run your hydration down. Then you're going to drink wine, beer, Gatorade, tea, mojitos. There's no hydration in any of that. And so I tell them, I said, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you, you're going to hurt your health long term by staying dehydrated. And what I'm gathering right now, Julie, is the healthcare professionals I'm talking to, if you stay severely dehydrated, the eyes, the brain, the kidney, the liver, the heart, everything important in your body is 90% water. And you won't die from being underhydrated, but you'll wear out quicker than you're supposed to.
Yes.
So good water is critical. So in the game of golf, my favorite story is a young man at the time, and he was on the tour, is rated 121. His name was John Houston. He had bursitis and he had a bad back. Well, if you've got tight muscles, lack of hydration means not enough blood in the body sometimes. So you don't get much fluid movement through the body, and it leaves things tight. So he had those 2 problems. He was ranked number 121. He bought 4 products, and 6 weeks later broke a 30-year-old record, 28 under par, and won the Hawaiian Open. $460,000. The headlines, the next British Open, the headline was "Healthier Houston Credits Magnets." And he's told the story is mostly about using magnetic products. Now, at this time, we did not have the water system, but later we did. And they all have to deal with getting dehydrated, because when you start you're on that golf course, you can't drink water fast enough to stay hydrated. So they take these sugary drinks in, some of them even drink soft drinks, and that's no hydration. So I've had a huge benefit. I've not lost to anybody my age in tennis in singles, because I can run the second set. No one else can run the second set. Their muscles are too tired. And I'm still flexible, actually more flexible than when I was in college. And John Houston went on to win over $9 million in his career. His wife became one of my consultants. So that's really our most significant golf story. And boy, he loved the products. We don't have testimonials that we pay for, but he was a consultant, so I can tell you about him. But I saw Jack Nicklaus hold up one of our back magnets. It was during the England British Open. He said, "This has helped me play the best golf I've played in years." And he was leading after the first day. And ironically, he was tied with John Houston After the first day, he was a leader with Houston. So that's a great golf story. And there's a lot of golf stories because the energy provided by the magnetic insoles was tested by Callaway, increased the swing speed 4 to 12 miles per hour. That was tested by Callaway in San Diego by one of my customers. And then the range of movement increases when you get more fluid in the muscles. Then the muscles aren't restricted and you get a better turn. But the swing speed was 4 to 12 miles per hour faster, which would yield 10 to 15 yards as kind of an average. Now in football, I was very fortunate that one of my distributors was a golf professional actually for Denver, Colorado, named Doug Wary. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember his name.
He was from Colorado, and he was an excellent golfer. He was running the driving range in Las Vegas, and I told him about these products. He was very impressed with how they would relate to golf, and he became a consultant. He was my last silver to go diamond, actually. And he showed it to everybody that came to the driving range, and he just found, just like I did in the tennis courts, everybody that was looking for a better turn in the golf, on the golf course, on their shoulder turn, their back not bothering them. Most golfers have a little issue with their knees sometimes. And most men, by the time they're 50, they got something that's bothering them, and it'll impact the golf game. But yeah, John Houston broke the scoring record that lasted for quite a while. It's been broken since, but imagine going from 121 to breaking the scoring record of 30 under par, and he did that. So that was a good example of how golf can be affected, and it's affected a lot of golfers. In fact, they're the one sport where there have been other companies make magnetic products, not as good as ours, but they're aware of the benefits of golfing with magnetics.
It's so powerful. I'm so glad you're reminding me of that, because I do remember when I first started, it was like the horse people, the horsey set, they knew about using magnetic fields for their horses to help them, to run better. And then the golfers, that was in the athletic arena. It was the golfers in America, particularly, that knew the power and benefits of that. And then when you add in the water, when we started getting that, that adds in this whole other piece that is so vital. I know when I started studying macrobiotics, one of the first things they always spoke about was flexibility. And as you get older, the critical nature of flexibility, and to do certain exercises, to always keep moving, to, just some natural things. And then also to eat an organic, natural foods diet, plant-based. So you'd be getting a lot of water in your food as well. No dehydrating drinks, obviously no soft drinks or, caffeine and those kind of things. So,
well, all those athletes using Gatorade is a shame, because it's not so much of a hydration product. And of course, they spend a lot of money advertising their Gatorade and dumping Gatorade on football coaches when they win. But the reality of it is that's not a hydrating product. If you've got sugar in the water, it's not. It goes in as food. And another thing that's an interesting statistic, Julie, is that the American water supply, which we were getting from stores and bottles and the delivery water and all that stuff, less than 3 ounces out of 10 are leaving your stomach. It's the enhancement of the magnetic field that makes 9 out of 10 ounces that you drink exit the stomach through the stomach lining, changes the clustering. And hydration is the single most important factor in the course of a match, because like an 18-hole golf course, it gets down to the end where you really ought to be playing your best, and you got brain fog if you're clinically dehydrated, which most of them are. And then football, forget about football. It's the most demanding sport from the standpoint of the level of exertion. And those guys are out there sometimes, trying to hold the defensive line. They get stuck out there from, 5-10 minutes sometimes in a row. My favorite football story is another one of my consultants got to show the products to the Denver Broncos. And they had won the Super Bowl the year before. And he was standing in the clubhouse at the Cherry Hills Country Club. And he held those magnetic insoles up and flapped them around a little bit and said, "Anybody ever seen a pair of these?" And no one had. And a gentleman came over and did the strength test. He said, "I want you to be here tomorrow, 2:00. We have the Denver Broncos, the coach, Elway, Shanahan, 13 trainers and 21 boosters. I want to show them these products." So that next day, my new consultant got to stand in front of the Super Bowl trophy and talk about Niken. And
that is so exciting.
The next 6 months, they bought $60,000 of products. They won the Super Bowl again that year, the second year in a row. Rod Smith was MVP of the Super Bowl and leading NFL receiver. He actually became a distributor for the company and skipped a $20,000 payday to wear a baseball cap at a corporate outing. He came and spoke at a Niken event in Indianapolis and didn't get paid. Remember Indianapolis where that race car was out in front?
Yes, I do.
It happened. Those 5 other players, they all became distributors. And after their careers, they loved it. Rod Smith said, this is the first year I've played injury-free using our products.
You know, I remember doing wellness previews with Rod Smith, and we would laugh because I was like, here I am, a ballet dancer. I don't know anything about football except you've got to get that ball across that line. That's all I know. And we would laugh about it. And he was like, yeah, well, you know, I don't know much about ballet either. But we used to have football players in England, soccer players, you know, soccer we would call it here, but they used to come to the Royal Ballet School and come and take class with us to maintain flexibility and learn to move adroitly, you know, as a dancer. Yeah. So they'd be better on the field. So there's a lot of, actually there is more cross-pollination than one would ever expect. But I loved Rod Smith. He was just fabulous, so much fun, and a wonderful consultant.
We've had some wonderful people. You know, we don't have a lot of names to drop regarding baseball, but I can tell you that Johnny Bench, who's regarded as one of the top 2 or 3 catchers in baseball of all time, he fell in love with our products, and he signed up as a consultant and actually did an article with Niken. And you can imagine crouching behind that plate and having people run over you all the time at home plate. He got beat up so badly, and he said he couldn't get through the day. And he loved golf, but he, you know, when you got elbows and shoulders, rotator cuff, knees, backs, all kinds of things aching, he loved the products, and he was a voice for us for quite some time.
That is fantastic. So, I mean, what we're hearing here is that these products work with all different types of athletic sports. It's thrilling. And you've been sort of our poster child for sports and just how you keep going and how healthy you look. I know people can't see you right now, they're listening to you, but I got to tell you all that, you know, Herb looks absolutely fantastic. You wouldn't think he was a day over 48 and he's 74. It's remarkable. I mean, you're a miracle child.
Well, you know, Julie, it's hard. I was talking to somebody at my church this past weekend. I said, now, if I was 104, would you ask me what I'm doing to stay so young looking? And the guy said, yeah, I would. Well, why don't you? Because I'm 74. I still don't look fit 74, you know, because people just don't have that in their frame of reference. That, what is this person doing? You know, now if I play tennis and beat somebody, they say, how can you still run like this? You know, there's people who will ask questions, but I'm very frustrated that more people don't realize that, but you know, between 60 and 100, the body shouldn't change very much. And a big part of it's dehydration. A big part of it's lack of hydration.
I'm loving that you're bringing it up again, because I watch, you know, older people as I, you know, walk around town or whatever, and it really is upsetting and disturbs me how much they are curled over and how difficult it is for them to walk. And often you can see their knees or hips, you know, the back is just not right. And, you know, they're sort of in their 60s or 70s, I'm guessing. And it just makes me super sad, because I think, gosh, you know, I love it that my body functions so well. And I know that Niken is such a huge contribution to that. It's huge, you know, along with keeping moving, and then, you know, a great diet, like I say, you know, sort of plant-based diet and a healthy diet is a lot of it. And then there's the mental attitude and all of that as well. But, you know, I just started a new thing called gyrotonics, which is really interesting for the spine. It's very spiralic movement, more like dance, very different from Pilates or yoga, which is, you know, kind of more linear. And just seeing a whole other level of health returning with that. But I drink a lot of water before I go in, not during it, because you're kind of sideways and upside down quite a lot. And then afterwards, you know, after the hour, and seeing great results. So what else have you got to tell us about? I want to hear more about you know, you mentioned about the microclusters and the absorbability. Is that connected to the alkalinity that is more absorbable? Tell us a little bit about that. How does that work?
I'm not a scientist, but in general, here's what it boils down to, at least the way I understand it. In nature, water clusters 9 to 14 water molecules. That little cluster doesn't penetrate the stomach lining. But when the magnetic field hits it, it breaks apart the cluster of 9 to 14 and breaks it to 1 to 4 molecules. And 1 to 4, 3 times more water leaves the stomach. That makes sense?
Leaves the stomach as in it's absorbed through the stomach lining.
It goes out through the lining, yeah, because
Yes.
it's not a big cluster and not a big clump of 9 to 14. So I'm not sure whether I saw, but the book by Dr. Batman Helge, I think that might have come from there, where you basically drink normal water, and because of the way it's structured, you only get a small part of it, like 9 out of 10 ounces of our water, magnetically enhanced, leave the stomach, whereas normal water, less than 3%. Not to mention, there's all the impurities in the water supply in America. I mean, you don't even I won't even say it on the show, what's in water. I mean, in my hot tub store, I tell people, and they shrug when they hear the allowable stuff in bottled water. I mean, a certain amount of chlorine, a certain amount of up to 30,000 chemicals, up to 70 pharmaceutical drugs. And I'll go ahead and say it, urine. There's an allowable amount of urine in the bottled water. I don't want any of that stuff. So I'm really, people get very excited when they come to my store and they find all this stuff out. And I tell them there's two problems with hot tubs. One is chemicals. I can make it chemical free. But the second one that no one in my industry is talking about, and that is hydration. Because you're underhydrated right now, and you will not be hydrated. You'll be even less hydrated once you start using a hot tub. But the body is 80% water, and if you don't bring new water in while you're performing in sports, you're going to get brain fog, you're going to be slower, your reaction time. Every function of the body is tied to your hydration. There's nothing that's not tied to the hydration, because the messaging is in hydration. You have to have hydration to have the neural messaging going on. So underhydration cuts down on the nerve flow, and everything I said, everything important, the brain, the kidney, the liver, the eyes, it's all hydration, 90%. So you can't fall short and perform.
That's amazing. Yeah. So one of the things I really love about our product line is the peak performance element of it. It just thrills me to think whether it's, you're an academic and you're trying to ace a test, or you're writing a book and you want to be super sharp, or you're an athlete and you want to be out there, playing your game to the best possible level. It's just so fabulous that everyone can access high performance through using our technologies. I find that thrilling. And of course, the sleep is a huge part of that. How you sleep is a big part of how you perform in the day.
A big part of it, Julie, is that there's so little understanding of high performance. I've got such an edge over my senior opponents, they can't even believe it, but they can't. I win my second set 6-love very often because I've run them around the first set, and because they're dehydrated, they're drinking Gatorade or some kind of crazy drink, 5-hour energy, all these crazy things. But to know a lot about hydration in sports is a really key thing. But I alluded to this doctor in India named Batman Helge, and he did a great study while he was incarcerated for some bogus reason. He was looking at all the people lying around the jail, and he went over to these people and said, "What are you dealing with?" And they would tell him what they were dealing with. And he would say, "Look, let me do you a favor. How much water are you drinking?" They were not drinking any water, because it was probably not the greatest water. But anyway, long story short, he set up a study of the different people with different challenges, and he would keep track of how long he had gotten them on adequate water per day. And he said in his study, in the first 2 months, over about 3/4 of the people got better, and were not dealing with they were up and around, moving around like normal people again. He was due to get out of jail. He said, "I need 3 more months to finish my study." So they kept him 3 more months so he could finish his study of these different groups of people. But basically, he said 90% of the challenges these people were dealing with were solved by hydration.
Yes, he was absolutely big on that. Your body's many cries for water, and some of the others. I love. You're
not sick, you're thirsty.
That's right.
You're not sick, you're thirsty.
It's so true. And I think partly why people don't drink enough water is because it doesn't taste good. Tap water's horrible. And then bottled water, so often it's acidic and it doesn't taste nice.
You don't like that cancer-causing plastic either, do you?
No, not at all.
The bisphenol is cancer causing. Remember Sheryl Crow? She was so proud of, she always had a plastic bottle with her all the time.
Yes.
Breast cancer. It was bisphenol from the plastic. And all the tumors, it was bisphenol.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And also, just the feeling of it. I mean, one of the things I've loved with athletics is being able to do things like trapeze and stuff like that, where you are upside down and be able to drink this water. And because it's so absorbable, because of the alkalinity and the microstructure, it doesn't slosh around in your stomach. So it's not uncomfortable to go and really move your body a lot, especially upside down. And I've loved that. And I always feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why children love our water, because it doesn't only taste great, but it feels really good in the body. It's not filling up their stomach in that uncomfortable way that just doesn't feel good, because they're all running around like little crazy monkeys as they are.
Well, as a good example is the story where multiple people have shared this. When they got the water system, they wanted to give it to their pets, and the pets had been drinking water at the same place forever, their whole life, basically, in the house. And they did a little test where they put the Nikan water in a bowl and put it on the opposite side of the room. Zip! They go straight to the Nikan water, and they never go back to where they were drinking before, because animals have a sensitivity to the magnetic field. And that was evident. I had a doctor who bought a king pad, and he put it on his second floor of his condo, and three cats never had gone to the second floor ever. They were on that bed like crazy. Right away, they went straight to the second floor, because they can sense the magnetic field.
Absolutely, they can
sense it in the water as well.
Yes, because a lot of the way they migrate and so forth is with the magnetic field of the planet and the connection there within the body. It's so cool. Yeah, I love that with animals, and it just shows people, look, we're not placeboing the animals, so you think we're just making this up. Animals are just true to form. They know what they know what they like, and they go for it.
Yeah, you don't run into skeptical animals very often.
That's right. You don't. That's right.
They know good things.
I'm glad you brought that up. And something I want to bring up that I have loved and want to thank you for, Herb, is this incredible book that you wrote called Fit to Win. This is a book, when you brought it out, I bought lots of copies. I gave it to many people. I lent it to many people. I love this book, and I always recommended it for people to really learn about their body and true health in a lot of aspects, because it's body, mind, spirit, and finances. I've loved what you've done here. Tell us about this book.
Well, Julie, I had a kind of a fun experience in the year 2004. It was 2005. I was chosen to do a one-night week program with Bob Proctor, if you remember the Lead the Field program by Earl Nightingale. And the company was going to have Bob do I guess maybe Bob and some of the leaders in Team Diamond put it together to have him do his own program, but he actually did a revision of the program for Nikan distributors. So anyway, they decided to start this program, and I don't know how he picked me, but I was so blessed, because imagine having one of the most supreme motivators motivating you every week and put you on the spot. When are you going to get to the next level? When are you going to do this? Are you going to win this contest? Or what's your work schedule look like? And accountability to the maximum. But it was, I feel like I got more out of that 12 months with Bob than I did all the education, 16 years of education, because I use that information every week of my life. I'm using the information he gave me, and we miss him a lot, because he was one of our favorite people in Nikan, and one of the most successful consultants was his wife, Linda. She did a wonderful job sharing the products, and had a very significant business for a long time. But the book came as a result of, every morning I would have some prayer time where I kind of thank God for my Nikan journey, and then I would set some strategies that morning. And at the end of my prayer time, I had a vision of myself on a stage with Oprah Winfrey talking about my book. And I got done with my prayer time, and I wrote 20 pages of notes as fast as my hands could write. Just 20 pages of things that I was inspired that should be in this book. And the idea of body, mind, spirit, and finances is our 5 pillars. It's what Nikan's foundation of personal responsibility and success, and the definition of success by Earl Nightingale. I like Mr. Masuda's definition, our founder. He says success is being healthy in your body, your mind, your spirit, your finances, and your societal, pillars, those 5 pillars. And I really embraced that, as you did. And it's been a cornerstone, and still is, our training. It's Humans Being More. It's a great place to start in anything. Being a human is being more, and looking for what you want to get from a venture. That was a wonderful thing for me, is I've always enjoyed, as a teacher of tennis, helping people get better. and they would really get excited, and it was a fun relationship that would develop. Oh, within 2 lessons, you felt like you had a very close bond. Well, I know that you still have a relationship with people that you've changed their life with the products. And so with NECAN, we get to change thousands of lives directly, and indirectly hundreds of thousands of lives, because any one of these products could make a life-changing difference. And, when you help one person in a family, you help the whole family. Because when the mother can get out of a hospital bed and be functioning as a normal human being again, and then that changes the whole dynamic of the whole household. She can get back to normal. And if mom's not happy, nobody's happy. So in my experience, I've had one lady came to my tennis shop. She was unable to play tennis. She had a low energy. She had discomfort, and it was affecting her quality of life. Her family kind of felt bad for her, and she was missing out on a lot. And she came in my little tennis shop in California, and she asked me about anything that'll help me sleep better. I said, I can tell you, this technology, I'm sleeping better than I ever have in my life. That's all she needed to hear. And she bought some product that day. She called me up 2 days later, said, Herb, I'm going to sell my photographic studio and go full time with you. I'm 90% better. It changed her life. And just that one lady, she was putting 30 people in a room at meetings, and she went to town, had more fun. And during the course of the time that she worked with us, she earned over $3.5 million and just changed lives. And it built my check to where I was very successful because of her. Thank God you can find somebody. And she was the fireball that was in my business in the early days that got me a real significant income. But the magnetic field, I don't know if we ever see it in writing, but if you don't get magnetic energy, Julie, at all, you're dead in 10 days. And that's in my book. And that's a fact that I found out was accurate. I heard about it in meetings, but I went to a presentation for Susan Carver in Orlando, and I spoke about the different things in the space world that are involving our technologies, so far infrared reflective material, and also the need for the magnetic field. And I said some things, how the astronauts had died twice in outer space at 10 days. It was never publicized in the world. And some people came up afterwards and said they worked at NASA. And I said, was there anything I said that was incorrect? And they said, no, everything you said about the spacesuits having far infrared, about the magnetic field being mandatory, because at 135 miles, there's no more magnetic field. And they died twice, but they were from Russia. The Russian cosmonauts died twice. And so when John Glenn first went to the moon, we didn't see him for like 4 or 5 days when he came back. When he went the second time, we saw him on the tarmac. That's because there was magnets in the space capsule. Pulsed magnetic fields. So I've had a lot of awareness of the, it's not just a mildly important thing. It's critical to have the magnetic field. The Earth is magnetic. It is a magnetic sphere. What's the number one diagnostic tool in medicine today? The way I tell people, I says, it begins with M, ends with I, has an R in the middle. They still don't get it. They say MRI. And then I ask them, what's the M stand for? And sometimes they know and sometimes they don't. But I said, every cell in your body is magnetic, and it's a natural part of our function that we hydrate the body for that cell to function at optimum, because we're an electric body and we need hydration. Every highly functioning athlete has got to maintain a real high level of hydration. And if they never use magnetic products, they've never seen their best possible performance. They've had great performances, but they've never hit the peak of what they could accomplish unless they've enhanced the magnetic field. The average person is walking around like a flashlight that's been left on all night, and the batteries run down. There's just a flicker of a bulb burning, but you're not full strength. So I can personally tell you that I keep the water going in all day. I've got it around my neck, around my back, and in my shoes. And when I play tennis, I put power pads on my shoulder for my rotator cuff. I wear 2 flexes on my hips. I wear the sleeves on my knees, not because they're damaged there, but I want prevention. When you increase the fluid movement 3 to 5 times, tendons and ligaments don't tighten up and strain and get micro tears. And that's part of my secret. I go out there loaded with all the products. I sit in a car seat, even when I'm serious, I sit in a car seat on changeovers, so.
That is brilliant.
I'm preventing the injuries much more so even than waiting until I get an injury and then try to deal with it.
Right. Very, very proactive. I know it makes me just want everyone in our world to know the profundity of what we have, and you have shared it with many. In fact, I was going to ask you, like, what do you think is the quintessential secret of your success in building your Nikan business?
Well, I know one thing. I've been in a business that always correlated to seeing a lot of people, and I was so addicted to seeing a lot of people that I did about 150 booths. I did pro golf tournaments. I did Jimmy Connor's senior tour tennis tournaments. I did medical trade shows. I did new age shows. I did farmers markets, any place I could put a table up. And then when I got the consultants that wanted to kind of duplicate that, I would go with them and help them get started. And be honest with you, in the 1995 to 2000, not many people really knew much about magnets. Since then, a lot of people think they know about magnets, but they just know about our insoles or our pads for sleep, but they don't really know the rest of the story. So hydration really is one of the things right now. Everybody knows there's a problem with water, but I guess just to answer your question, is seeing a lot of people and introducing it to them. And in my tennis business, even after I was a consultant, I closed my tennis shop after a year and a half. Then I had a season where I was only doing Nikan, but I was doing booths all the time. I did some booths that cost $5,000 and some $2,500, but I always felt like when I sow a lot of seed, there's almost always a response, and you never know. But I still get people contact me from 15, 20 years ago. My phone number hasn't changed, and they call me up and say, "Are you still with that magnet company?" And I'm still using magnetic products, and happy to say I'm still playing basketball and skiing and doing everything I do at 20 without any problem.
It's so inspiring, and I think you're just so enthusiastic because you know this, in every cell of your body, how critical this is, and you exude that. And so I'm sure people listen to you just so easily because I do. I'm listening to you going, it's incredible, your level of knowledge, but it's also your enthusiasm. And I know that both you and I, when we started, Nikan was in answer to prayer. I know with you, it was with your mother, right? She was really hurting a lot, and you asked for a way to help her. And I know for me, it was financial. I really needed a way to help my family. And I prayed about it, and Nikan came. And I was told very directly, this is what you're to do. And I think that was the same for you. Am I correct?
Well, it was. And where in the world what were the odds that two pro football players came to that tennis club, and I was able to, and they spent enough time there that they got somebody to sign up, and they started coming there and doing presentations. But they didn't go to any other tennis club. That was the only one they ever went to. And the saying that when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
I was ready, willing, and able. Boy, I had a tennis shop, and I was a great salesman. I had a wonderful tennis store. I had 13 different tennis stores. Always loved having a product that was an attention getter. I always had the latest rackets, all the technical things for improving your game quickly, getting better quickly. And so the book became a real tool in that what I found since the 20th century ended and the 21st century began is people don't give you very much time, but the book extends the conversation with great credibility, with stories that are real, with people who are real, talking about the challenges that we have in life, and the fact that, you and I both seen money come in a way we never dreamed of. And as a sophomore in high school, I decided I wanted to be a tennis professional. I never thought about how much money I was going to make. I just knew I was going to put on tennis shorts and have a good time every day doing something I wanted to do. And it's been that way. I'm selling hot tubs now, and I'm seeing so many people. And I asked the question, is therapy of any concern? And 80% are saying, oh my goodness, where do I start? And I know I've got them. I've got their attention. I said, I'm really happy you're getting a hot tub because that's going to help you open the blood vessels. You get vasodilation with that nice therapeutic heat. You get the massage, which is great. You just got to remember now that you're sitting in 103 or 4 degrees, you're going to get dehydrated. And I've sold over 200 water systems in the last year, 2 years now. And people absolutely call me up and say, Herb, I love my hot tub, but I really love that water system you sold me. And they're calling up and they're ordering more water systems for gifts. And I can't think of anything better as a single product to change your life. And I tell people straight up, I said, listen, This hot tub's going to relax you, but nothing is going to change your health better than drinking this water. You're going to empty 15 to 20 pounds from your intestinal tract. How is that for a health improvement in 3 or 4 months? It will do that. Almost consistently it will do that. Your skin is going to start softening up and wrinkles will start lessening. And all I have to say is I'm in the sun 52 years. I don't have any wrinkles on my face and I'm white. And my African-American customers, they laugh because I'm kind of joking with them, but I make it fun and it's all true. You know, I show them how I can stand straight up and put my hands flat on the ground at 6'3" at 74 years old. And then they say, okay, and I give them a 1-year money back guarantee. Just if there's any doubt that there's anything not going to go well, and they never return them because they're so happy. And the other thing I share with people about water is this water, you put a bowl of this water in your kitchen sink and you put your fruit and vegetables in there, that magnetic field releases the bond of the chemicals to the fruit and vegetables and the chemicals float off. Now I've really got the women if they're thinking. But then the thing that gets the ladies particularly is the skin that's just soft and pliable at 74. Nobody has better skin than I do at 74. Nobody. Men. I mean, women do.
No, it's phenomenal. And then you can, then there's the shower unit, and then we've got now the hydrogen, the hydrogenated water. It's so exciting to have that added to our sort of arsenal of wellness products. I love it. So I want to just touch in on, there's so many things we could talk about, but I want to go to the future a little bit. Like, why do you think that Nikken is so vitally important for the future of our world right now?
Well, look at all the places that got challenged with water. Now imagine New Orleans. They had that terrible hurricane.
Yes.
And based on what I saw on the rooftops of those houses, all they had to do was declare a 21-day fast. No one would have been a great idea, because everybody there looked like they could have lost some weight, and the water and sleep, we have two incredible products. We have the best sleep technology in America, and we have the best water technology. Those are both tied to weight management. Major. It's been proven in studies that water, you're dehydrated, you're not going to lose weight because your body's going to hold on to everything. And if you're, if you want to function in sports, the biggest advantage is keeping a young person hydrated so their brain fog doesn't set in right at the end of the competition. But the future, water is actually almost like medicine. It's one of the things that God gave us that we absolutely cannot be playing fast and loose with. And everybody is fast and loose with what they're putting. Look at the industry of vitamin water and all these fruit flavored waters, and all fortunes are being made on drinks. And most of the drinks are harming your health. You take a Starbucks bottle, you suck that, there's so much sugar, and that's a detrimental thing to your health. You know what? I really condemn the industry of education in America. You get out of college, you don't know how to balance your checkbook, you don't know how to pick a wife, you don't know how to pick a career, and you don't write any essays, you don't need algebra, trig, and geometry. They use those tools to make us feel dumb. At least that's what it did to me. I never
need life skills.
Stuff out. And they say, take Spanish. What the heck? Unless you go to the country and study it and speak the language, you're not going to speak Spanish. But the 1 year in Nikken, I got more of an education in my first year in Nikken with all the tape programs that we listened to.
So what I hear you saying is we need life skills, and that's so true. And we don't get them in schooling, and it's the same in Europe, by the way, as in America. And I know there are many of you out there listening who are in Germany and France and Sweden and England and so other places. We're going to have to kind of begin to go to a close here, but what's the kind of one nugget of wisdom you could give everyone, all our listeners, that they can take with them to integrate into their Nikken journey? Because everybody's on this journey, right? This hero's journey in life and in Nikken. What's the key for you?
Well, we've learned about the 5 pillars, and I think just the idea that you want to look at those 5 pillars and say, where am I in those pillars, and pay attention to it. If you've got a family that's disjointed and everybody's going different directions, spend time with that. If your financial situation, because wisdom is the principal thing, getting smart, getting understanding. Oh my goodness, I feel so much more intelligent now than I did when I was 20, and some of the education was prior to Nikken, but the majority of it was just the learning of the value of the human body. I see so few people that are contemporary with me that can still do anything. They can't travel. They can't They can't go climb the mountains. They can't, they can't take long trips. They can't be away from their home. They got meds that they got to take, so it's just great to feel like the future. I'm not afraid of the future. I'm enjoying myself completely, and do all the things I wanted to do sports wise. And as far as, I think just the idea of planning, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's the kind of a thing that I think that network marketing and NECAN has done for me, and all the great speakers that they've had in our different trainings. Even some of our consultants are awesome, like Mike DiMuccio, that intellectual capacity he has for understanding what people need. And there's a lot of compassion in our company. The humans being more, that kind of training. The world needs it right now. We got a nation that's divided significantly. I've been driving across the country several times in the last 6 years. I think, gosh, we're in a beautiful country. If everybody, including our government, was just trying to make things better, we got all the resources and the large number, 330 million people. The magic of large numbers, Julie, that's what makes network marketing work.
Yes.
You build a large organization, it works.
And you bring up, humans being more, which I know you and I have done many, many, many times. I'm sure both of us well over 20 times. It's a life-changing experience, and that helps us to anchor in those 5 pillars and focus in on what do we need to improve, and what are we also proud of, what have we done well with, so it's both things, a celebration of what we've done that has worked, and then the understanding that, okay, this part hasn't worked so well, what can I do to improve it? You're a mine of information, Herb. You're absolutely fantastic. I feel like we could talk for 2 hours easily and more. I'm so grateful that you've taken the time for this podcast, because I want everyone to hear your wisdom, and I want to thank you so very much for your time here and all this knowledge. And I know you've got a million more stories, and we'll have to do another one soon enough, with another focus, perhaps on another product part of, another aspect of our products. But just thank you for your love, and your you have so much love for humanity. You do, and you're ceaseless in your quest to help people understand that they can have more power, more control over their own health, and how to really do that. So you've just made a massive difference to millions of people. I know you have thousands of people in your team, and that you're always there to help all of us in our quests, our personal quests. So I just want to say thank you so much to you for this time. And I want to say thank you to all the people listening. And please make sure to follow this podcast. Make sure to check it out also on YouTube. That's a place where you can actually like and share from there, and also comment. So, feel free to comment on what you hear here. Herb, are there any last words you'd like to?
Yeah, I just have one thing that's kind of funny that I share with people. I tell people I'm 74. They say, well, why aren't you retiring? I said, I didn't find retire in the Bible anywhere, and I'm having more fun than I've ever had. And I had the largest income of my life last year at 73. And, life isn't money, but it's awfully nice. Zig Ziglar said, I've had money, I've been without it. And believe me, I like it better when I have some. But, all the time you want to help people, that it takes money to do the things you want. And I've been blessed to be able to give over $500,000 to charities and churches and things like that. I kept track of it, and that was something I always loved. I've been sponsoring 10 children from overseas in different nations. The children you see on television, from Christian Children's Fund. So, retirement, it doesn't make sense. Well, the average firefighter and police officer dies within 5 years of retirement because they're not geared to that. We're not geared to quit. You tell your body it's time to shut down, your body shuts down. You're a creature that you attract what you think. And I'm thinking about 120 years at least. And I'm going to be winning the tournaments at 100 because nobody else will be playing.
You will totally be winning at 100. I can see it now. Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. I think retirement is the silliest idea ever. I have no desire in that at all. And I did see that with my own father, a doctor. When he retired, he declined so fast. And then the brain was meant to be used, and the body. Yes. And it's really fun. These bodies don't need to wear out. Men are dying at 76 right now, Julie, and to be 74 and think about dying at 76, it's ridiculous. But that's what's going on due to lack of knowledge, not knowing how to take care of the body. Thank you so much. And we have big hearts, and we want to help. We want to help our world. And just what you just said about charities and being a philanthropist, what a fabulous aspect. Well, there's not much that stays behind after you're gone, but I know that I can say that
that was something that I was happy to be able to do, to be a part of a church that got started in Atlanta. 10 children that for 25 years have had support when they didn't have any income. One time made me cry. A little girl sent me a thank you note, said, "Thank you, Mr. Rapp. I bought my family a goat and now we can eat." She bought a goat for her family, and that provided income and milk, and they could not only have a little extra money, but her family could survive. I think that was Uganda. A little girl sent me a letter. Thank you. So those are priceless messages. Thanks for the opportunity, Julie. Love you guys out there.
I love you too, Herb. Thanks so much. And again, thanks everyone for listening, and tune in next week for our next episode of Inspiring Our World. We're so happy to be bringing this to you. Many blessings. Bye for now.